Happy Halloween, one and all, and nothing says Halloween festive fun quite like childhood trauma. And that's going to be our focus with this 2-pack this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course subscribe, and while you are at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here in the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that is in the description down below, also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. Huge shout out here to Ultra Megatronus for sending this 2-pack my way. Apparently it's one of the packs that went on like a deep discount in the US. It was retailed at a leader class price point, at least in Canada. I assume it was in the US as well. And you know what? Maybe there's an argument for it being that price point, but a lot of people, myself included, said, you know what? This is just reliving like one of the most horrible childhood traumatic experiences that I had with a cartoon that I loved, right? I mean, to this day, I might even mention it again, to this day, I still get haunted by Prowl's face after he gets hit and his eyes turn and the smoke comes out of his mouth and stuff. And I always just imagined what happened to Ironhide. This is a weird pack. I think a lot of people were waiting for there to be like, you know, a proper re-release or a buzzworthy proper coloration of both the Ironhide, because the the Studio Series 1 was missing a paint deco, certainly, with its yellow stripe missing, and a lot of people didn't like the clear plastic or translucent plastic. And same with Prowl. I mean, he came in a 2-pack that a lot of people missed. A lot of people were waiting for this one, and they found it real weird that we have these grimacing faces and along with this battle damage. And some people have changed things out. Are these better? Are they worse? Are they comparable? We're going to compare them to the Studio Series Ironhide and to the Prowl, my custom version of this Prowl mold. And we're going to see how they stack up. So without any further ado, how about we head over to the table and take a closer look at these guys. Alright, ladies and gents, so thanks to our buddy Ultra Megatronus, we are going to be taking a look at something I did not necessarily plan to take a look at by way of the Buzzworthy Bumblebee Transformers the Movie Studio Series. I don't know what we call this, the Dead Prowl and Ironhide 2-pack. Let's relive some trauma, shall we? We will certainly compare them to the regular Studio Series as well as the Autobot Alliance version of Prowl, right? So the Studio Series version of Ironhide, the Autobot Alliance version of Prowl. Of course, before we get into anything to do with either of these characters, we have to look at that packaging first. And this peculiar release, of course, is a 2-pack. Here in Canada, it was sold as a leader class price point. I think it was the same in the US, and I thought, you know what? I thought that was actually all right. But I thought that this was an odd pack to begin with. You know, why would you release them this way, you know? That said, in the US, the price went way down on these. I don't know if it was that Target put them on clearance or if they showed up at one of the discount chains like your TJ Maxx's or your Ollie's or your Ross or whatever. I'm not sure, but I know that Ultra Megatronus got this on like a deep discount, as a lot of people did, and I think that that's a great way to get it. Turning it around, on the back we have the product images of both of them. I mean, in action poses, I guess as long as there's still, you know, some juice in their spark, they'll live to fight another day. On the side over here, we have both of them. You know, it's just the art of both of them. You know, in their horrified face, in their stance. Over here, it's just your regular kind of evergreen designs, very Cyberverse-ish. That's it for the packaging. The set comes with a bunch of blast effects. I think is this 2? Yeah, that's 2. Is that all it is? Is it 3? No, I think it's just 2. So we have these 2 in nice purple, actually. We have, is this 2? Yeah, that's 2 as well, so 4. And 2 of these, mine were a little bit bent, but 6 blast effects in the package and a nice, Decepticon-y purple, because I feel like that this would match with them getting hit. I can't remember if that's the way it was in the cartoon, but you know what? It's probably accurate. We've actually got a pretty big, gigantic 2-sided set of instructions. And you know what? They're cool, they're fine, but I don't know if we really need them. We've seen these before. And here, of course, is the start of the worst scene, or if not the worst, the second worst scene in Transformers the movie. The one that scarred a lot of us, even to this day. I'm not gonna lie, the visage of Prowl with the smoke coming out of his mouth and his eyes turning orange still haunts me even now. Speaking of Prowl, here we have both versions of the Earthrise Prowl, basically, in their vehicle modes. I will note that we're not actually going to be looking at the transformation this time around, though I will note a couple of things. We saw the transformation from robot to vehicle way back with Blue Streak, Earthrise Blue Streak, in episode 775. We saw the transformation going from vehicle back to robot with Earthrise Smokescreen in episode 791. And we saw the original, iteration of this mold as Prowl as part of the Autobot Alliance 2-pack. Came with an Ironhide there too, ironically. The Earthrise Ironhide. But I looked at this guy in episode 805. So it's been a hot minute. In terms of police car vehicle, this one definitely more accurate. Why? Because we should have the little blue badge here. Now there should be gold in the middle of it, and I don't think there is. Looking at it here, it just looks like black in the middle of it, but there should be a little gold star in the middle of it. The handles should be red on the vehicle. I painted them red here. They're not red here. But it shouldn't have the word police on it. Honestly, both of these are pretty good, but this one does take the cake a little bit more, because even something as simple as between the light bar being white instead of black is accurate. Their blasters on the top, exactly the same. Their light bars, exactly the same. Like I said, except for this one has white between the lights, this one has black between the lights. If we turn to the back, this one already had red taillights. This one doesn't, so that's a little bit of a bummer that we lost that paint at, but I guess the paint that was used for that got reallocated up here instead of the clear. Other side, is the other side, and then the front, well, the front is the front. We do have an Autobot symbol in the same location on each, and I did paint the bumper of this one gray with the red highlights that should be there as well. It was, I think, originally just all left black, if I'm not mistaken. So, again, this one naturally painted gray. Still missing the red highlights, but I gotta give the win to this one because it is painted gray. So you can certainly see how they look. I think they're both successful in different ways. I think they both kind of fail a little bit in different ways. But nevertheless, here we are. Now that we've seen them this way, we can go from them. Oh, by the way, I do like the hubcaps on this guy being colored instead of just being left black. I think that's terrible. The silver down here, definitely the better way to go. Who knows? Maybe I'll change out the tires. We'll see as time goes. Now that I got both, I have that option. As well, there's a fairly easy way if you want to rectify the robot mode of this one a little bit. Certainly the chest. But we'll get to that in a moment when we go from our boys looking like this to our boys looking like this. Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to show the transformation, but I think the transformation gets a bum rap. A lot of people have said, I broke the roof off of my Prowl. I don't understand how anyone has done that on any of these molds. And I'm going to show you why I don't understand it. I've also heard people say, oh, the knees snapped and crumbled. I don't understand how that happens either. Here's the thing about this mold, whatever version it is, the order of operations and a bit of finesse, absolutely necessary. So let me show you what I do. I'm not saying it's foolproof. I'm not saying it's fail-safe, but it's the way I do it, and I haven't had any issues doing the transformations really for these molds. I do find that Smokescreen is the smoothest, and I do find that This guy, his legs catch a little bit, but this guy's very smooth. So, just a couple of things to note. When it comes to the upper body, I always, of course, push the center of the hood down. And then as I begin to lift it up, like I bring it down all the way first. And you might say, whoa, 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 GotBot, what about his head? Well, we're going to get to that now. So I always, just so you know, I always do that before I try collapsing the back hinge. A lot of people that have broken this said that they try to collapse the back first and then fold the chest down. No, fold the chest down first, then collapse the back. That way, this will tab in where it should, the hinge will collapse, and the head will come up through. That's the order I do the upper body in. Now for the lower body. The lower body, when I'm trying to deal with these legs, first thing is, these pieces down here, I save for the very last. They're out until I've collapsed the entire leg. I also make sure that I have both legs firmly put together long before I do anything else. And once I have the hips pushed all the way down, and after I think I've got them, actually, you know what, I'll do it out and show you. So I'm like this. I always make sure I have the legs together. I have my foot pieces flipped up inside. The legs are together, all points as tight as they could be. Then I bend at the knee and I push all of that down. All of it, okay? Now I realize, okay, I need to line this up with the roof. So I'll do that next. I'll line the roof up next. Once I have that done, now I can fold up these lower legs down here. And if I'm having trouble and I'm right here, then that means I haven't got it pushed all the way down yet. Once I got it pushed all the way down, they go up no problem. So the trick I find to make sure they're pushed all the way down is to use my thumbs right here on this side to push it all the way down. I do that with all of them. I don't have any issue with any of them. Not Barricade, not Prowl, not Smoke Screen, not Silver Streak, not Blue Streak, and not this Prowl. Once I have these down, of course, I can, you know, just turn the guy around, split these, yeah, dandy. Then, like I said, I close this down over before I collapse the hinge on the back. The chest is already down, and as I collapse the hinge on the back, this solidifies in, that solidifies down. So, just a couple of little notes there. I didn't show the full transformation, but just a couple of little notes there about how I handled the chest and legs. Maybe it will help you too. Maybe it won't. I don't know. Let's give this guy some scores so that we can get to Ironhide next. So, in robot mode, first thing to note is that the damaged one is, again, more accurate. The head, the crest up here is a little more accurate. A lot of people call this the blue streak head or the silver streak head. I don't find that it's either of those either. It's just a different head. I like both of them. I don't like that his mouth is open on this head. That's a bummer. But otherwise, the shape of this head and the shape of the eyes, very quintessentially Ironhide, not Ironhide, Prowl, and they nailed it. This head, yeah, I'll admit, it's a little bit cattywampus. You will notice that on my Earthrise one, not only have I colored the red on the doors and the red and gray on the bumper, but I've also filled in the thigh silver to match his silver face, just like this gray matches his gray face. I have filled in the silver on his hips. They do it here a little bit different and a little bit less than me. I think the red triangle was always there on both. And this guy has the gray torso as he should. I do have a line under the black. You can't really see it very easily there. That's gray, or that's silver for like the lower tummy here. But it is what it is. Out of package without the custom work done that I did, there's a lot of sea of black here. Black thighs, black pelvis, black bumper. This is just more accurate even with the battle damage here. I'm going to have to give it to the battle damage one. Now let's say you're like me and you're thinking to yourself, man, I don't want that battle damage. I like the arms and the doors and the whole lower body and whatnot, but I don't want that battle damage. Well, you got a couple of options. One, In behind the body here, there's 2 screws that hold on a piece that includes this light, and the front bumper. You can always unscrew those and take this whole front piece off and change it out with that front piece. If you do that, you're also going to have to get some rubbing alcohol to get this silvery damage off right here on this piece next to the Autobot logo. Be very careful with doing that. Or B, if you want, you can keep both upper bodies just as they are and simply take the whole upper body off and literally change out the lower bodies. It's just the mushroom peg. No big deal at all. So that's up to you kind of how you handle that. Different people have been doing different things. For me, for now, I'm going to leave both of them as they are. But that's just me. I will tell you this now. As much as people don't like clear plastic for whatever weird reason, I've never had an issue with it. The knees on him are looser than the knees on the Earthrise one. Much looser. For looks, I'm giving this guy, honestly, the battle damage is the only thing off other than not having the gold in there. I don't think the gold's in there. No, it's not. It's an Autobot logo in the star, but that star should be gold. 9.5. 9.5, maybe even 9.75. It's very, very close to a quintessential Prowl. Too bad they put the battle damage on it, honestly. So 9.5, 9.75, I'm a little lenient there. The transformation, I think, is pretty excellent. Very smooth on this copy. I'm giving that a 9.5. Scoring quite well, despite the battle damage. What about the articulation for him? Well, taking this Prowl out of it, we have a head that goes left, right. It can look up, it can look down. The arms go all the way around, out to the side. Elbow, little over 90 degrees. Bicep swivel. Do we have a wrist? I think we do have a wrist. Yes, we have a wrist on the guy. Full waist, as you saw. Legs forward, legs back. Full splits all the way out to the side. Thigh swivel. Super duper deep knee, obviously. Ankle tilt. And can these, yeah, I guess these feet can go forward and back because, right? What more could you really want from a deluxe, honestly? What more could you really, really want from a deluxe? I don't know. I'm going to say 9.5 for that too. Overall, this Prowl is a 9.5. The only thing keeping him from being perfect, quite frankly, is his open gaping mouth as he's yelling, I suppose, and the battle damage. If you like both of that being there, then this guy's probably a 10. But what about Ironhide? And as we move on to Ironhide, I'm going to note a couple of things here as well. First, I looked at the kind of regular Studio Series 86 Ironhide in episode 1074. I have also done some custom work on him, not the least of which is adding the yellow stripe, which when we see it now next to a version that has the yellow stripe, yeah, he should have had it all along. I will note that in vehicle mode, neither of them have the one box, which is that sled part that everybody talks about that comes off. That actually has a name. It's called the one box. That is something that the Earthrise version does have, so advantage Earthrise. If you don't like parts forming, that's cool, I get it, I understand it, but that the one box is a feature, right? I think that's why they did it the way that they did. Nevertheless, here we have what is generally considered to be a very popular version of Ironhide. I struggle to call this a Voyager, to be perfectly honest with you. I feel like it's a really good deluxe, but I struggle to call this a Voyager. Nevertheless, when we look at both of these, I have to give the vehicle mode of the Dead 2-pack credit. It's, from the side, super duper accurate. The wheels are colored on both. The yellow stripe was included on this version. And while the back window only being half colored seems jarring, I can't believe I'm going to say this, it's accurate. It shouldn't be a full window. It should only be a half window. Weird, but true. Who knew, right? Both blasters, I didn't show them because just like with Prowl, they're the exact same thing. Prowls are two slightly different shade of white. These and these are the exact same silver. They're not even a different shade of silver. Exactly the same. When we turn these guys front on, well, naturally, they're both very similar. Both of them should probably have red right here and red right here. But they're both very similar. They both have the Autobot logo on the front. This one, of course, has a windshield that's seen better days. This one, his windshield is fine. When we turn them on the other side, of course, I've added the yellow stripe. I will say this. The yellow stripe should be back on like the side of the very foot piece. It's not on this one, but it should be on it. So that's one little thing that they should have added. And then when we look at the back, of course, this one has the windows. This one has the molded in, but not colored. I would also venture to say that this one feels a little bit more of a hodgepodge of different reds because of the paints and stuff that were used. This one feels like a more cohesive red. So I gotta respect it for that. We're going to show the transformation this time going from vehicle back to robot because we have not documented that. We did, of course, see robot to vehicle when I reviewed this guy. And I gotta say, I find this transformation challenging. A lot of people say that they find it great. I really don't. I really don't. The legs are great, but dealing with the top up here and the windshield can be a bit of a nuisance and a bear. I've sort of softened this one up a bit with time, but man, oh man, it's not easy. Plus, I have a pin on this one that likes to come out. Will that happen here? We'll see. But for now, yeah, you can see how they look together. If this one didn't have the yellow stripe, I'd be struggling to, you know, even rank it next to this one. So for vehicle mode look, other than the broken windshield, I think that this one does take it. Okay, so with only this one here, let's kind of get into it. I'm going to take both of these off. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to bring the camera in a little bit closer just so we can focus on him a little bit tidier. Okay, here we go. So, very solid together. What a shame about this. I don't know why they did it this way. The very first thing to know is we got to pick this piece off, and this is easily the hardest part of this transformation. At least it is for me. I don't look forward to trying to do this. I sincerely do not look forward to trying to do this. And you're going to see me struggle with it because I'm not planning on cutting it. So I take this piece down. And then you see everybody and they'll say like, just bend it forward. I cannot do that. I've never been able to do that because of the way these tabs up here are. And it's hard to find a spot to start here, honestly, with getting these off. Sometimes I try to start it on the side and see if I can finagle and fiddle these apart up here, but it doesn't seem like it wants to do it for me there now. You see the struggle I'm having to even start this, right? I mean, how can I say that this is a fantastic transformation when I'm struggling this much to even begin it? Man, oh man, oh man. There, I got one side out. And now, there. Whew! Yeesh! Okay, so we got both of those sides out. And that's what I wanted to really show up close. Let me go back a little bit because now we're going to elongate this guy out and the rest of this should be fairly smooth. And that's right, now that we've got this whole piece up, we can put these in. By the way, I did not have a pin come out here, which is nice. And we're just going to fold that up for now. We can't do anything else with it, but we'll leave it there for now. Over here, this comes down on the side. Interestingly, on my other one, both of these seem like they're ratcheted. Like they actually have, I don't want to say, I guess soft clicks, but not here. Here they just go down. Strange. Take the arms and stuff up. Thusly, we're going to take the body and bring this down, and then we're going to rotate the entire body around like that. We're going to take the arms and split them and bring them out to the side. We're going to take the head here and pick it up and bring it out. We're going to close that up. We're going to click in the waist. By the way, the waist is tighter on this one than the other one. We're going to straighten up the arms and bring out the fists. By the way, the shoulders on this one pinned much looser than the Studio Series. We're going to bring that up. Then we're down to the legs, which I actually do think are pretty genius. We're going to split the leg. We're going to bring this whole piece down, fold this piece in, fold this piece up over it, bring it all the way under, fold in a shin. Bring this down on the side, fold this in behind. We're going to do everything that I just did on that side, now on this side, because I know I went quickly. We're going to pick this piece off the bottom, angle this all down on this gray hinge, fold in the side window, fold up the rear piece, and then straighten the whole thing underneath and bring down a shin. Then we're going to take the side of the vehicle and bring it all the way down and fold that in on the side and stand Ironhide up, and boom, in the end here we have Ironhide in his robot mode. And so now we have Ironhide next to, well, Ironhide. And the transformation is a little bit better on this guy because the pin doesn't come out. I still find starting it from vehicle going back to robot a bear with the way the front of the roof and the windshield goes. Once you get that loosened up, the rest of it is fairly elegant, fairly simplistic, with enough moving parts to be interesting. I'm going to give the transformation, it's not my favorite for Ironhide, but it is better here, I think, than here. I'm going to give it 8.5. Then we get to the look. I mean, it's hard to say. This guy has a silver face, this guy has a gray face. I feel like the gray on this guy is a little cooler than the gray on that guy. I mean, they're very comparable. The gray hands and shoulders are pretty much the same. I think the red might be a little more cohesive here. I don't like the open mouth, I like the closed mouth. Obviously, I wish we didn't have all of this beaten up, but I get why it's like that. And the waist of this guy is tighter than the waist on this guy. So, yeah, I'm starting to go into articulation. For looks, I'm going to give the Buzzworthy one, man, it looks like Ironhide except for the chest. I got to give it, again, 8.5, maybe even a 9. Let's say 9. Let's split the difference to say between the transformation and the look. He's at 8.75. Then we get into the articulation. I'm just going to lay this guy aside for a moment. By the way, I have their blasters put on their back. It's the exact same blasters put in the exact same place, right? Laying him aside. Articulation is, you know, ahead, left, right, can look up, can look down, shoulders, all the way around, out to the side. They're not loose. Like if I leave them there like that, they're not going to fall. They're just looser than they are on the regular one. Elbow to 90 degrees, bicep swivel, wrist rotation, waist, one piece hip skirt. On my other one, I took a crafting knife and some people pop pins and stuff. You don't have to. You can just take a crafting knife and repeatedly kind of keep shaving up the side. They'll come apart. So now I have a 3-piece skirt on the regular one. This one will need the same treatment. It should have been done for a Voyager price. Should have been done right away. Nevertheless, leg forward, leg back, thigh swivel, splits all the way out, knee to 90 degrees, ankle tilt, and forward foot and back, even though this looks pretty odd. He was getting it 8.75. The articulation is really all there. Again, 9. So overall, this guy is about a 9. It's a good Ironhide. I just wish the battle damage wasn't there on the front. And by the way, some people have taken the liberty, I'll get this out, taken the liberty of popping a pin down here and replacing this whole section. Some people have popped that pin and popped one up here and just replaced the windshield and used everything else. I guess that's up to you how invasive you want to be. And if you're happy with the battle damage, then this is right up your alley. I mean, I will admit, that is a troubling but effective display, and at least now Optimus Prime doesn't need to be alone at that weird Autobot mausoleum thing. You know, he has a couple of other members there with him. That said, I really don't think I need a Brawn or a Ratchet done in this fashion. Nevertheless, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a 2-pack with just exactly that eventually. So what can we say at the end of the day? It's actually a great set. If you're in for this set, or if you've been on the fence about this set, well, you know, I think the 2 that are included there are generally a little bit better, at least in terms of deco and look. I do find that the tolerances on this version of Prowl are better than the tolerances on this version at the knees. He likes to fall back. He does not. I do find the tolerances on the shoulders of this guy better than this guy, but I find the tolerance of the waist on this guy better than this guy. So pick your poison, I suppose. The only gripe, quibble, criticism that I could really levy here is that we got that battle damage and those, I guess, dying faces, screaming faces, agony faces, whatever you want to call it. If you're in for that battle damage, then this set is definitely for you. If you're not in for it, then you know what? It still doesn't hurt to have them and either change out parts, or if you're not prepared to do that, at least not right away, doesn't hurt to have it in the back pocket so that when and if you do have something break, you can always rectify it with bits and pieces from the other one. You can play a little bit of Cybertronian Doctor. And as far as the set's overall score goes, I'm going to give it, honestly, a solid 8.75, maybe even a 9. It is a solid set with 2 solid offerings. And here we are once again, and normally I say here they are, or here he is, or here she is. However, since we have 2 here that I want to give some final thoughts on, we'll start off with Prowl. I like this Prowl, there's no doubt. I do find the knees to be quite loose in comparison to this one. I haven't had any issues with this one. I have seen a number of people who have removed the very front here. There's only 2 screws in behind and put it on here, and then use some rubbing alcohol to get rid of the gray battle damage up right there. I mean, you could do that. You could even change out the heads. The helmet on this one I like better. The face on this one I like better. I prefer the silver face to the gray face, but that's to each their own, right? Both of them are fine. I think that this is a great mold. I'm glad to see that my customization take is fairly similar to what they were doing here. I do wish that this one had the red lights. I do prefer the doors on this one rather than saying police. I'm glad that we have the little blue symbols. It's too bad that the star in the middle wasn't gold. I suppose you could paint it if you really wanted to. It's a fine mold. A lot of people give it a lot of flack, and I have never had issue with it. I've never broke it. I don't understand how people break it. The only thing that I can figure is that either things get pushed a little too far, such as trying to put the back and the chest down, and trying to put the back down first and then fold the chest in. That's the wrong order. You've got to put the chest down first, really. When it comes to the knees, I don't know. I don't know what's up with the clear plastic that people have issues with. I've never had issue with it, so I can't speak to it. I personally prefer this one just a little bit more because mine is tolerance better. However, if your version of this one is tolerance better, then you'd prefer this one more. Or if your version of this one broke, you'd prefer this one more. I get it. It's kind of 6 in one, half dozen in the other. And truth being told, between the 2 of them, you would probably be able to hodgepodge something together to give an excellent, excellent Prowl. Let's lay this guy aside for a moment. Because we have to also talk about, briefly, Ironhide. And again, if this Ironhide didn't have the open screaming mouth, I would prefer the gray face over the silver, but I'm okay with the silver. I think I like the Shade of the gray a bit better on this one than the shade of the gray used on the thighs and hip skirt of this one. The hip skirt should have been, you knew fans wanted a hip skirt done in 3 pieces. You should have cut the hip skirt in 3 pieces before ever putting it on this guy. That should have been done. I do like the addition of the yellow stripe. I don't know why that was never put on here and I had to do it myself. I do like the I guess addition of like the Allspark blue on the windows, though I don't hate the translucent either. I don't have a big issue. I do prefer that this one seems to have a more cohesive overall red, as where this one is a couple of shades of red. Again, I've seen a lot of people switch the heads out. I've seen a lot of people switch the chest pieces out. I do find doing the transformation on this one a little bit easier than this one because I do have a side piece over here where the pin always works its way out during transformation. That didn't happen here. Although, that didn't mean that starting the transformation and removing the chest piece was easy. It wasn't. It's still a brutal way to start that transformation that, honestly, I don't like the engineering of at all. The shoulders on this one, way more loose than the shoulders on this one. Not a deal breaker, and they're not going to fall a lot, but when I get down here, like I can tell right here, like it's falling a bit. It's just a little bit looser. I think the tolerances here are a little bit better. That Starscream wife distracting me. I like most of this one, but I prefer the head, the shoulders, and the undamaged chest of this one. Again, you could probably hodgepodge them together. What a weird set. I'll say this, because I'm not as confident in the longevity of a lot of the new bots as the old ones, I'm okay with having these on reserve, and I thank Ultra Megatronish tremendously for sending them my way. Is, at the end of the day, this a set that you should get? Honestly, they're fine enough molds. If you already have them, I don't see a need to double dip. If you don't already have them, probably get them. If you can get them on that deep discount, that's the best way to go. Are they worth a full liter class price? Probably. If you break down the math, they're probably, if not worth that, close to it. But if you can get them on the sale that everyone's been finding these guys at, man, jump on it, because for, what is it, like $17.99, taxes in $20 US, they are absolutely worth that. Let me know what you think about this 2-pack. I appreciate you guys coming by and giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course, hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you are at it, please hit the subscribe button, man. Stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel. Happy Halloween to one and all. If you've already got your candy, enjoy. If you don't have it yet, get going, man. Get that costume on and get out. And I will look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way right here inside the videos.